You're in the middle of the city. When the event ends, you'll walk around the canals to a bar, to a restaurant. You're surrounded by Dota people. You're talking about Dota. Like, it is an event. It's a festival. Strategically, Secret right now is above everyone else. And that's a big part of why they're winning. And it's why I think Puppy is, like, the most important member of this team right now. I've always been a big Spurs fan. Not Tottenham, but San Antonio, NBA. And sorry, again.
Maybe Kyle is always wrong, as Twitch chat says.
Look, I'm winning both ways.
Hello, and welcome back to the Luckbox podcast. Today I'm joined by Kyle himself.
Indeed, the one and only.
Thanks for jumping on.
No problem.
I've had to put up with you because there's a group of you all in London this week.
It's been a blast.
How are you enjoying the UK?
It's great, actually. It's interesting to be in a foreign country that has all the signs in English, I'll be honest. And it's not that I have any it's not like I forgot if I'm uncomfortable, if I can't read, if I can't it's just that I can read Cyrillic almost at this point. I've been to Kiev so much, and it's just cool.
Wait, is that a good thing? Because it's not as exotic, is it? You kind of know what's going on. Like, you can read everything.
But it's interesting, and it's London, right? And even though it's kind of dirty and smelly, and the people, British people have very strange methods of speaking, it's charming. And you've always wanted, it's got this, it's fashionable, it's London.
I'm sitting right here.
I know. This is how it goes. You're fine. You're one of the good ones. Okay. But most people, it's London. Fine. What are you going to do?
Okay, but you weren't in London. You were in Birmingham last week.
Correct.
We were at ESL One Birmingham, which wasn't a DPC event.
Felt like one.
It felt like one.
Yeah,
Tell me.
I mean, a lot of players, I think even, it was public, a lot of people tweeting about it, that it felt better, like equal or better. And I don't blame them because it was the first, let me think back to previous events, but yeah, I felt like it was the first time this year, we've been in America or Europe. We haven't been to America this year. That we had what felt like a community event, right? You're in the middle of the city. When the event ends, you'll walk around the canals to a bar, to a restaurant. You're surrounded by Dota people. You're talking about Dota. Like, it is an event. It's a festival of sorts. And it was really cool. It was just, the crowd was loud and excellent, and it just felt great. It really did. And it was warm. It didn't rain so much.
It did rain.
It rained every day. But I'm told that was still fine for England.
Yeah, that is normal for England. But the Dota was good, though. That was the thing. That was the thing that got me, right? The team list was spectacular.
Yeah.
The quality of Dota, everyone was... I don't know. It was great Dota.
New patch?
It was new patch, right? So it made it interesting. It wasn't interesting because, okay, you're the expert, and I really don't want to say anything about Dota. Now you're going to call me an idiot.
No, I think you're on point. I think that what you felt was why it was so successful. Like, I was interested organically. I have a very hard time. A most challenging thing for me working as talent is to fake being interested because I can't. I have a very hard time trying to talk about the game enthusiastically if I'm not really truly enthusiastic about it.
Right.
And this event, it's a breeze because it was some of the best teams and they were playing great Dota, and it was all new and different, but it was still understandable. There were some cool changes. You could sort of see the logical decision trees that these teams would be making throughout the games. It was just fun to watch and be a part of.
All right, but break it down for me, because I'm not an expert. So for me, it was like, Aghanim Scepter stuff. That's the big change. But that didn't feel like that was the big deal about this. Not for the pro scene.
It was about. There were a couple things, like they lowered the cost of wards. They increased the gold bounty for wards and for dewarding wards as the game progressed.
Right.
They added 2 tomes to the shop at 10 minutes instead of just 1. Effectively, supports spend less gold, get more experience. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. We saw for the first time a shift away from what was a 2-1-2 meta. And now we had some tri-lanes back. We had 1v1s. We had some teams that were roaming. We had teams jungling. Like, Wisp was back. Mars was back. We had new heroes.
Yeah.
You can't really point to one change and be like, oh, this is what created this. It's just you're adding variables into the game. And in the case of supports, you're giving them more power, which leads to more importance on the decisions and plays that they make, which was personally like, Puppy won MVP. I think there was a big reason for that. Spoiler alert, Secret won again. Because he was the drafter, he was the captain, and he played great and made high impact no matter if his net worth was the lowest.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Secret won. It's not a spoiler. I think everyone knows. It's all right. No one's in the dark on this.
I did a pre-tournament poll, who's going to win ESL, Secret or anyone else, and it was split 50-50. That's how much of a favorite they were.
But it wasn't that close in the final. Or was it?
It was pretty close.
So EG were pretty dominant in the groups. They went through the entire upper bracket. They looked good. But then up against Secret, who came back from the lower bracket.
It's true.
What does this tell us? What does this tell us about the top tier Dota right now?
Anyone can beat anybody, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think drafting, strategy, tactically. So you know the difference between strategy and tactics?
Enlighten me.
All right, so strategy is like your game plan, right? It's what are you thinking about drafting? What sort of play style would you like to adopt, right? It's the strategy is how are you going to win the war? Tactics is how do we win the battle, right? Okay. And tactically, teams have become very close-knit. In fact, I think Liquid is still arguably the most tactically sound team in Dota. They play it's insane. They play even in a draft, they lost the draft. It still feels like a 50-50 game because they play so well. But strategically, Secret right now is above everyone else. And that's a big part of why they're winning. And it's why I think Puppy is the most important member of this team right now. And obviously his team plays a part. You could argue that his whole strategy and concept has always been the best, but he never had Zai on the offlane. He never had Yapstor. You don't have teams can't last pick their offlane or heroes most of the time because it's going to be one of 6, and it's all going to do the same thing. Zai can play a Darkseer and be number 1 net worth. He could play Enigma and be the 4 position, or he can just, play a Nyx and run around the map and gank people.
Well, this is something that Puppy said as well. Is they're not a team of superstars.
No.
Right? And you don't point to that and say, you're the guy everyone's looking at. You kind of... Zai, while obviously everyone's heard of him, you don't pick him out of a lineup and say, that's the superstar. Well, maybe you do now. But what is it about this team? Would you say Nisha is the best player? Would you say any one of them is the best player?
No, there is no best player. It really isn't. I've always been a big Spurs fan. Not Tottenham, but San Antonio, NBA. And sorry, again. But Liverpool did take that final as well, spoiler alert. But point is, the Spurs have always been under this, my favorite coach, Greg Popovich, and the whole philosophy is there are no stars. It's about flow as a team, about playing to one another's strengths, and really getting everyone involved. Right. And Secret does that better than anyone else. And in the way Dota's shifted right now, away from an emphasis on hyper carries and roles, and you have to do this and play this style, the more versatile you can be, the easier it is to out-strategize an opponent. And when you're the most versatile team and you've got the best captain, you can make it look easy. And that's why Secret's won half the events this year.
Okay. And you think anyone can beat them now, though?
Oh, for sure. The problem is that the gap, even though they're so good, the highest ELO rating ever achieved by a Dota team is currently Team Secret right now, okay? And yet they're nowhere near as dominant as previous teams that we would consider the superhero, the all-star squads, like the Alliance TI3 era, Navi TI1-2 era, even Newbie when they were dominating. They had a 24-game win streak. But I feel like Secret, even though they're better than all of those teams, the gap is smaller. It's so easy. You can get last-picked Alk, last-picked Meatbode. You can just lose the game. You can buy one bad item. You can lose the game. You can take a poor fight at Roche. You lost the game. It really just takes that. It used to be that the Tier S team and Tier B, they're 7 mistakes apart. Okay. As long as you at some point get your shit together, you're going to win. No longer. The best teams are still only 1 or 2 mistakes ahead. You watched, I think it was OG versus Liquid in the group stage. They took one fight. Liquid made the mistake of initiating on a hero that wasn't Seb's Magnus. They caught an RP. OG took Roche, or rather, one fight, they took Roche and I think a Rax, and the other one they won the game. So it took 2 fights. You messed up once. Your advantage is kaput. You're now on the back foot.
Right.
One more error, one more imperfect play, well, good luck game
It makes it exciting for us watching it.
Indeed.
All right, wrap up. One thing then. So, if you took this poll again just before TI9, do you think it'll be the same? Is it secret or is it someone else? I know I'm asking you to look ahead a bit now. Look down the road. Are they going to maintain this dominance? That's the question.
The thing is, everyone's almost expecting them to fail and not to do so because last year they won the DreamHack Major and then they faltered. But I'll be honest, that event was the outlier. That was the fluke. It was an 8-team tournament. It was like the coming of age for Ace, and in the grand final, which they won 3-0, I believe he played Arc Warden, Lone Druid, and Meepo. After that event, you knew that Ace could play these heroes, and that versatility, that wider hero pool is now no longer an advantage because the other teams are aware. And honestly, the team just wasn't as good. Individually, Ace and Fada versus Nisha and Zai, they're incredible players, but it's, at this level, there's a big difference between being top 10, even top 5, and top 3, top 1.
Right, so it's not a repeat of last year.
Correct. They will, I'd say they'll be heavy favorites going into TI. I would expect, if we assume that they don't completely crap the bed at Epicenter, it'll be that 50-50 split. I just think they're so good right now, and it would be poetic if Puppy winning TI1 would also be the first person to win a second TI all the way up at TI9. And just think about how incredibly difficult that is, right? To stay motivated and dedicated to win after being a world champion for 8 years. 8 more years. I have no idea.
All right, well, we'll run this poll, and maybe Kyle is always wrong, as Twitch chat says.
Look, I'm winning both ways. All right? It's fine. Always right, always wrong. Who knows? The point is, I'm always here in front of the camera talking to you, my favorites, the Dota